Welcome to the Cool Fireman Podcast, a virtual firehouse kitchen table with Matt, Adam, Brian, Doug, and Freddie, where they discuss everything that matters in today's fire service. Now let's get to the show.
You wanted Matt to be serious, and now he is, and look at you go.
Is that a French fry, Adam?
No, these are like...
Put it up your nose.
Sticks.
Cheese doodle or cheese something, cheese sticks.
You are frozen, like the Disney movie.
Who, me?
Let it go. Let it go.
I don't love you anymore. Let it go.
Oh, man. What a weekend. Everybody have a good weekend?
Holy smokes. What a day yesterday. I couldn't get out of work fast enough this morning. Holy.
Yeah, we'll talk about what a day. Man, y'all saw the videos. We had a killer time in Washington at the Commanders game.
Hell yeah.
Like we laid the smackdown on the Panthers. Preston got his picture with Jaden Daniels. I mean, pregame tailgate. Oh, yeah, and his little crush, Katie.
Y'all got featured on the Commanders' Instagram.
We did. Preston got on the Commanders. I was in the background trying to catch the B-roll, for the East Coast Kelly's page. And as part of Griddle Crew, we were doing a video with Slot Dog, one of their, it's like it basically allows you to cook your hot dogs with grill marks and everything else. And so we were doing a video while we were up there, and I wanted to get that shot of just like the pregame. And so we went into the game like as soon as it opened, the gates, and they were doing warm-ups. And then all of a sudden, these players were coming up, and just the environment there since the new ownership has totally changed, and it is unreal. But anyways, not to get off on the tangent. If you're not following us,
foreign people.
No. Like it is the environment, the pregame, and the in-game experience is totally different at Washington. I say that. I'm saying it based off of what I had heard. I'm a third generation Washington fan. I only went one game last year with Preston and the wife and other son Jackson. And so, but it's unreal. And like I said, that place was packed yesterday and nobody left. Like we were blowing them out. Like so, Jaden Daniels went out with a rib injury, played like part of like the first quarter, by the way, starting quarterback in my fantasy, and I'm 7-0. Can I just brag on that real quick in our league? 7-0. So anyways, all that being said, like went out and still blew them out 40-7, and nobody left. Like this place was just electrified. And like I said, super cool environment. We had a blast. Can't complain.
I got to bring it back to about 3.5 minutes ago because I didn't hear a word you said after when you said slot dog.
Slot dog.
So
slot dog.
We're not here pushing slot dog, but I got to know what slot dog is because after that you said something about grill marks. Okay. And that's what a barbecue does. Not slot.
So slot dog is like, imagine it's a little device that you push down your hot dog on and it cuts it perfectly. So that way, whenever you put it on the grill, it cuts it open. And it's like perfect. You know how like you see people that are like cooking the pork butts and they're slicing it on the diagonal or whatever?
Yes.
That's what this is. And so it makes it grill and it opens it up and it gives like the perfect marks on it. It is right.
On a hot dog.
On a hot dog. Yes, on a hot dog. Look at the fat kid over here. Trust me. You got to get you a little slot dog.
Adam's right. I've used a slot dog before.
I got one. Pick one up. It's in my Amazon.
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you know the slot dog owner, like the CEO, the creator, the founder, the inventor?
No, we're not talking like that. But I mean,
let's get him on the podcast. I need to talk more about this slot dog.
Slot dog. SLOTDOG. Slot dog.
All right, we need to stop talking about it. Now they owe us money.
There you go. Speaking of people that help us out, let's talk about our sponsors real quick. Let's give them a shout out. This month's Burn Box with the Cool Fireman Podcast. Check out that cool swag. Yes. I'm sure Adam's got his box close by. I've got mine. Yes, loving it. The burn box, baby. And I wanted to do a special shout out real quick for the FD Collectors Club. I know y'all love it. Man, this month's coin, we've talked about it a couple of times, but this month is Lincoln, Nebraska. It's their Station 8, the Ghostbusters theme. Man, last month it had the glow in the dark, but these things are raised, and this thing was so cool. It helped me out with an October Blackstone Griddle challenge. And so, anyways, that one was really, really awesome. But lots of fun stuff in this month's Burn Box. Yeah, Lincoln, Nebraska.
I thought it was
You thought it was FDNY, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but if you look,
local 644. That'll do it.
Yep.
Glow in the dark.
No.
Oh, but that thing is so.
But if it did, that would be like next level. So shout out to Tom, man, and his people. They are always doing next level stuff because that is pretty sweet.
Dude, I've said it before. I am not a challenge coin guy, but these things are so stupid. They're so cool, like stupid cool, like what the kids are saying.
Cool. Yeah. Stupid cool.
It's not like stupid. You know what I mean? Like horrible stupid.
And the same for Adam and Unky's seasoning. He's got some awesome stuff. He's wrapping up. I say wrapping up. It's coming in market season, right, Adam? He's going over to us.
The market season is closing up. I just finished up my last one in Hampton, Virginia. I got a couple more left.
It's going to get too cold.
It's going to be, they're going to be some
you guys are fair weather market goers.
Yeah. And so as we approach the holiday season and people start thinking about gifts, all of these things, whether it's Unky's seasoning, FD Collectors, or Burn Box, what a great way to be thinking about something to put on your list. If you're that hard to buy firefighter in your family, think about one of these three great different people and different companies that you can help out as they are firefighter-owned businesses as well. Give a gift not only for yourself, but to them and become a buyer of their product. You like that?
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Why are fire engines red?
I still want to know.
To be red.
I still want to know how Matt's weekend was and how his football team did. Since Brian talked about his.
Oh.
Yeah, I am so depressed because the baseball playoffs have been absolutely phenomenal. But my team is nowhere even close to being in red October. They are just not even close. Not even 5 years, probably not even 10. Artie Moreno needs to sell the Angels as soon as possible. And now the San Francisco 49ers, my football team, since I was a young lad, are doing terrible. Debo cannot stay healthy. Christian McCaffrey's still not back. Brock Purdy seems to be throwing with the wrong arm because all he can do is throw INTs. So I'm pretty depressed. I'm not as depressed as Cowboy fans, though. I'll tell you that right now.
That is bad. That is
pretty
bad.
disgusting. I mean, to pay all that money for Dak, and he just sucks. That guy's blind. He's actually not a bad quarterback. He just makes terrible decisions.
It's like Dalton. It's like Andy Dalton yesterday. It was terrible.
Was he?
Just bad decisions. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch.
Yes.
I didn't really get to watch my 49ers, but thanks, Adam. I really appreciate you bringing that up. It was otherwise it was nice weather, and I was at work yesterday. Had a big fire in the morning that I didn't get to go to because I missed it by 8 minutes. I was at work at 6:38, and it came out at 6:30. So missed that, but then dealt with the repercussions of that for the rest of the day. But it's all good. So why are fire engines red? What makes them red? Who said?
The chief.
Huh?
The chief.
And as a chief, I say, why do they have to be red?
Red. If I was the fire chief, I would say those fire engines are going to be red because that's tradition. That's the way it's always been. So sorry. And they've done studies saying that red is the most, seen color or whatever. But I read a story.
Green is the most seen. Red is the most recognized color.
Sure. Yes, you're right. That was part of the story that I read. So in the early 1900s, Henry Ford, the creator of the Model T, said that you can have your own vehicle and it can be any color as long as it's black. That's what he said. That's
So,
what he
okay.
said.
So let's go back and say, but if we have a retention problem, let's go back to the story about Nick. Okay. The one episode where Nick talks about the one that was very popular here recently on our shorts.
Do you
And
want
you
to
start
pay your
talking about-
bills or do you want to fight fire?
Yeah. And
the
so
other
if
way
we
around.
talk about the things that we can't pay for, like retention, why does it have to be red? If a little bit of pride and somebody says, hey, I want to change the color. I want things to be different in my organization. And I want it to be the local high school colors because I want a little pride in my community. What's the heartburn with that?
All right. What's the dog that's most compared to or most related to the fire service?
Well, a Dalmatian.
Okay.
I got you.
Are you
I
just
mean,
gonna
yeah.
change that too? You're gonna
No.
make a golden retriever?
No, but I mean, if that's not the dog that they want at their firehouse because they want to be different, why should it matter?
Golden.
I love the
Dalmatians
truck.
are crazy.
That, like, I believe, like, FDNY has one. The ones that are right there beside the Mets, right beside the Yankees, they're themed out. LSU, they have all LSU color fire truck, no red to it. I think it's just so awesome. But that's one
Yeah, and that's what I'm
of the whole
saying.
entire fleet, though.
I'm cool with that. That's like having a station shirt, kind of. A stupid bad comparison, but
Taking
close.
pride in your
And that's what I'm saying. So if that makes the men and women happy and it doesn't cost any more or less to do it, and if it is, it's nominal, it's a one-time thing over the life of 30 years, why should that matter?
What? The color?
The color.
Because fire engines are red. It's called fire engine red. Crayola has a crayon called fire engine red for a reason.
Okay.
There is no fire engine neon green.
So why is it that some stations wear navy blue uniforms and some people wear light blues?
That's
Why do we
because
care?
They were all
No,
high.
answer my question. Answer my question. Why should it matter?
It's because it's a traditional color, the navy blue.
Okay.
And that's what people recognize you. I don't know.
And now some have gone to but some people have gone to polo shirts as their bees.
and they all look black.
Okay. They all
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't think it really much matters in my mind as long as people show up to work, they do a good job, and the people who are calling 911, they don't care what color that truck is when it shows up and what it says on the side.
That's been our argument for like a few years. We have one chief who's pretty hot to trot about us looking uniform and all being the same. And guys are like, dude, they don't care what we show up in when we get there, as long as we do our job and we're professional and we help them, you know?
Right.
So I see both sides of it, to be honest with you. Sorry, I'm gonna have to be a Luke Fenswalker on that one, on a particular uniform thing. But
I'm talking about the fire truck. I'm going back to the fire truck. That was the shirt was an analogy.
red.
Ours used to be
Rob,
slime green. The neon green.
Okay, so
Ours was.
That's the state, California.
I mean, I don't
I
care.
missed it,
I mean, I'm saying I don't care. My department, my volunteer department, when I first joined, the oldest trucks were slime green, and then they switched them to red, and then they went white over red, and that's what we have right now. We have white over red trucks, and a lot of departments have white over red, and you know now my career department has gone to gray over red, and my truck that I helped spec was predominantly white, red over white with a white top on top of that. So it was like white, red, white. And it had black striping and not red striping or white striping or whatever. And so, you know, and it had gold leaf letters and, you know, it was like, let's flip things up. And then I know trucks that are orange and black because of where they are. And like they're themed out and, you know, there's different colors. And like Adam said, there's one here not too far away where they're pirates and their fire trucks are purple. I mean, like literally they have a truck that's close by the stadium. And they're the pirates. And so they're purple. And in my mind, like not all of their trucks are purple, but that one that's there, and we talk about community buy-in, I think the people in that community who see that and see the college pride, they're like, wow, a purple fire truck. but they have a great buy-in for that department because they see the connection and they say, wow, that college or that department cares about the collegiate presence in our community.
Community pride.
Yeah, community
Love
pride.
that. I think it's amazing. Every other fire truck, red.
How about an how about an wait a minute, we went from all trucks got to be red to it's okay for one to be different.
Hey, look at this. It's weird. 2 or 3 adults are having a conversation, and you can actually change my mind with facts and opinions, and I can be an adult back and say, wow, you're right. I've changed my mind.
Okay. and that is the end of this episode. Bam. No.
Roll it, Gigi.
No, but seriously, I think that if we have listeners, that would be my question: is what is your take on it? Right, like legitimately, as we were texting each other going down the road today, or as I was going down the road, I was not texting like going down the road. Let me rephrase that: as I was using, what do you call it?
Incriminating yourself.
What do you call it? The voice to text. And I was telling folks, our guys here in the chat, and I said, hey, what are we going to talk about today? And Matt jokingly said, why are fire trucks red?
Well, it's not a joke.
I know it wasn't. But as he said it, let me rephrase that. I thought he was joking. Let me phrase that. I thought he was joking. And then Adam comes into all these other topics, and I was like, you know what? Let's talk about that. Because I do see a symbolism of the community pride, and I think it's something that we should talk about. What do you got, Matt? You're dying over there.
Ron, why aren't you just happy for me? I told you I wanted to be a lead anchor. I thought you were joking. I even wrote it down in my diary last night. Veronica made a big joke. And then I laughed at it. Ha 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 ha. Sorry, I my brain.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's good. It's good. So but like the community pride piece of this is a big deal. I think it is a big deal, and I think it's something that matters because there are some chiefs who are stuck on the tradition piece. Not knocking you, Matt, but like that's what it is. And then there's some communities who, and I would agree with that, right? But I do think it's important for us to be like, what does matter? Community perception over pride. They got to have that buy-in.
No, I totally think you're right. So I went from all fire engines red to those themed ones. That sounds pretty cool. But like, where I work, what are we going to do? Like theme it after the high school?
Well, and I'll pick on Charlotte here. Charlotte has themed trucks, and I think FDNY does too. They get the standard truck, and then they allow them to put a logo that's themed, and that's it, right? Like you don't change the whole truck. You get like a certain amount of real estate on the truck, and that's it. Adam, have you seen those?
I've seen some of Charlotte's. They'll use a lot of the NASCAR fonts for their truck numbers.
Yes.
Like the famous Dale Earnhardt number 3, Matt Kenseth's number 17 font for the Inch 17. And that's pretty cool. I can get off on subject on Charlotte, man. They got a mansion for a firehouse with a pool. Oh, it's awesome. It's in a Richie neighborhood.
Yeah.
Dude, I think
I think that's what it is. So maybe there's a compromise too in some of this of where maybe you don't do the whole truck, right? And your whole fleet isn't like that. Maybe you just give a certain amount of real estate. Or have you seen these across the back of the truck where the mud flap says something like maybe the truck is a color, but then the mud flap represents something a little bit different. Have you seen those?
Yeah, box alarm grill.
I think those. Yeah. That's it. I was going to say I couldn't remember the name of the company, but
I think our mud flaps say keep back 343 feet. You see what they did there?
Nice. Sexy. I like it. I
like
it.
Hashtag never forget.
No doubt. So let me ask this question, Matt. If you could, like, I don't want to say spec one out, but if you could like design one, what would it look like? Front to back. Money's not an option.
Like, what do you mean?
Color it, top mount, side mount, like roll up doors,
engine.
You know,
now, so we're getting a puck. We're getting a puck. It's it's like performance ultimate cab or something like that. I don't know. It's the puck. It's a midship pump that's like in a cab. Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Yep,
so I'm looking forward to getting that. Huh?
I know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to getting that. We actually have one that's coming hopefully at the end of this year, and then we have another one coming next year. The lead time is insane. We've already talked about this. We talked about it with Ronnie and that they're waiting like 3 years for a truck. That's no different anywhere in the country. It's absolutely insane. We're riding around in 20-year-old engines that 2 of our 4 engines won't go into pump unless you do it manually. So we had that fire yesterday, and our newest engine, 2016, they had to manually put it in pump. I mean, it's insane. It was like the first time you've ever made a fire engine. But we don't need to talk about it or beat the horse, but yes, I would make it red. I love gold leaf. A good gold leaf is real nice and sexy, real nice and clean, sharp lines. So there's Pierce red. Everybody knows what Pierce red is. It's kind of like this, maybe a little bit more red, but shiny. But there's a local fire department near me that has like black on the top where it says their fire department, but on and then it's like a dark, like almost maroon red, but like a little bit darker than maroon. It's cool. It's a bitchin' red. I really like that. So I'd probably make it like that, a little bit darker,
like Chicago.
Yeah. And your font? Would you keep your font the same?
I don't know. Well, I don't know what font it is.
What? There's tons of different fonts.
American typewriter. I love that.
Oh my gosh.
Love
Adam, do you hear this?
All caps.
Adam, do you hear this? No.
I mean, it's so sexy.
We use Comic Sans. Comic Sans. That's what I use.
Brian's more like an Arial.
No, yes. I loved
words.
The Charleston font. Have you seen the Charleston font? So it is like when you so Pierce calls it the Charleston font. If you look at one of the Charleston's trucks, the reason why I say this, if you look at the different types of letters, like how Boston does theirs and how their letters are overlapping each other, right? Yeah, and so like they'll say BFD and all. They're all. Well, I'm not a big fan of that, right? But then they have the block style letters they look like they're all caps, but they're not necessarily all caps, but they're blocked. But they kind of almost look like how Cleveland's baseball team has their font of their team name almost a little bit. But again, it's all about that image and that look. People are sitting there like Matt right now thinking about what that looks like. But if you go and look at, I know you are because I can tell. But if you go and look at that, I know it sounds crazy, but little things like that make all the difference in the world as to how a truck can look. And I think Adam would agree that Adam is part of our graphics guy, and I think he would appreciate the fact that the way you could take a red fire truck, a plain red fire truck, and do some stuff with graphics, even without having to do gold leaf, but just an overlay of colors and fonts, and totally change the way that truck is going to look. An all red fire truck, change the fonts, change the graphics on that truck, and it would drastically change the way that truck looks in its entirety. Painted rims, or are you going like alloy rims?
How dare you?
I'm just saying there's people out there now doing just straight black rims or red rims or whatever.
Yeah. Our Type 3 has red rims, and there's one guy in particular in the fire department just loves to just all morning. That's the first thing he does when he gets into work. He puts all of his stuff on, he starts polishing the rig, and he loves polishing those rims, those alloy rims, and he makes them look pretty. That's actually not that difficult with the right stuff, Never dull. I think that's what it's called, never dull. It's good stuff.
Or Flitz. Flitz is good.
Taking years off our life every time we use it because it's like sniffing 20 black markers, within whatever. But anyway,
the reason
I think it looks bitchin'.
The whole reason why I brought up the how would you spec a truck is because I think it goes back to the pride, right? And having a truck committee. And as a chief officer, for me, I really don't care what it looks like. I care about the people who care riding the truck. What good is a truck to show up that looks great if people don't care that are riding on the truck, right? Like, so for me, I don't care I do care. I want to be proud of it, and I want it to look a certain way, and I want it to have a certain community pride and a certain community feel to it. But at the same time, if the men and women that are riding that truck look at it and say, man, and a man or a woman who's responsible for that truck gets there that early in the morning and takes that much pride in that truck, they probably take a lot of pride in the job that they do, right? Like they make sure, I'm saying that in certain contexts. I think you're right. You could probably show up and not care about patient care, but care about how your truck looks, right? And maybe their priorities are not necessarily in order. But historically, you could have someone who just shows up, doesn't care, comes, they have 3 meals, somewhere to sleep, and then they go home, or, times 2 if they're working 48. But I think that for me shows that really we need to make sure our priorities are in order. And if something as simple as the way a truck is spec'd and designed makes a difference in the way that people perceive us in the community and the way that we see ourselves and the way we do our job, what does it matter? What does it matter what color it is or whatever? Biggest thing is, can we care? And that's the biggest thing. And so that's why I wanted to talk about it today, because I thought it was good.
Well, you always you're swimming in the deep end, and I typically am like around like the shallow end, So
just keep
you're
swimming.
Right.
Just keep swimming.
Right. You're right. The way guys feel when they come into work, they feel all good because they've got a nice clean rim. But the guy I was telling you about, he's a BLS guy, and he doesn't cook well, so he only polishes the rig, and then he could just pretty much go home. I'm just kidding.
Just
kidding. Well, I mean, be good at what you're good at, right?
At least one thing.
I'm still searching, so
be good at report writing, right? That's nothing else.
Well, I do it. I don't know if I'm good at it.
There's your typewriter. That's your typewriter.
There you go.
See?
I
love
this
that part.
There you go.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I knew he was over there. The way he had his head down, he was up to something.
Yeah. Well,
I'm surprised you didn't go search. I'm surprised you didn't go search up the Charleston font for me. Show the viewers what it looked like. I know he did.
Well, you have to download it.
So I think that was a good talk. You know what else was a good talk?
What?
Last week's episode.
Yes.
I thought it was a good week episode with Chief Hayes.
You want to know my honest opinion is I didn't know what to think after it was done. I knew we had a good conversation, but I don't know if it was because I had been traveling for 12 hours or just, meeting you for the first time in an area I didn't know where I was. I mean, even on the podcast, I admitted, I'm like, where are we? And he's like, Charlotte. I'm like, oh yeah, we're in Charlotte. But afterwards, I was just like so tired but I'm like, man, that was good. But when I listened to it back, I made a stupid comment during that podcast where I said I didn't have much to offer. And it's just because I didn't understand. I thought we were just going to be talking about North Carolina Fallen Firefighter Foundation. But in the end, I was like, no, we're talking about the whole country. And like every different department all across this country has the same issue. It's do you know your benefits? Do you know how to get them? How do you do it? When do you do it? All this good stuff. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. And we should know the answer to it. And shame on me. So when I listened to it back the other day after we posted it, I was like, I missed the boat. Somehow I missed the boat while I was sitting there. I mean, I had a good time. And the pizza was good and the beer and the company, of course. But I don't know. Yeah, you're right. It was a great conversation. It's a tough conversation to have because it's not a fun conversation that you have to have with your peoples. But what Chief Ronnie Hayes said about where the rubber meets the road, is the captain going to take responsibility for their crew? And if not, maybe he or she is not set for that position. I'm like, shit.
What a gut check.
You're right. Everything he said was so valid. And so I know that Brian's going to say this, but I'm going to beat him to it. If you haven't gone back, haven't watched it with Chief Hayes last week on Friday. So what's today? Today's the 21st. So this is going to drop somewhere around the 26th or whatever. If you're watching this, go back and watch the Chief Hayes one because it's just great conversation. It's really good.
It was so good. And we were so blessed to be there together, the three of us. I hate that Doug and Freddie weren't able to be there, but we were blessed to be there, the three of us together. And then to have that conversation with Chief Hayes, a very vulnerable moment. We opened up. There's a lot of things that were said, lumps in our throats, a couple of tears were shed, but we talked about it. And we talked about just how vital it is to know that, whether it's Adam, who's a firefighter, and it's peer-to-peer conversation, who's like, hey, man, don't take this for granted. You need to make sure you update those benefits, or we're like it's an accountability moment for the station captain, or for me as a peer chief, like for Ronnie to be looking at me and saying, hey, it is about a captain. It's that reminder for me at a chief level. I needed to hear that, just like you needed to hear it, and Adam needed to hear it. Everybody needed to hear that. And I think that it was a very good episode, and it wasn't just about North Carolina. It was about everywhere. And if somebody finds that their state doesn't have it, then that, just like the episode with Rad, I know you're wearing the Rad hat, with your buddy, it's about, if you don't have it, then you're the person that needs to start it, right? Mm-hmm. You need to be the one to plant the seed. I love Patrick Lencioni. He better than anybody, you two, that I'm a big fan of his. And he talks about planting your tree. You can't harvest fruit unless you plant a tree, and it takes a long time for it to bear fruit. And so if you're going to be that person, you've got to plant the seed at some point. And that's the whole thing, is you don't know if there's a fruit tree that's been planted unless you start looking, so start at your station. Jay Lyons talked about that. Adam had him on the show, and he talked about training in his rural department and how he wanted to be the one to change it. He was not responsible for it, but he wanted to see something change. And so he led the change. And I think, not trying to get on a high horse here for a second, but I think that that's what I'm most proud about. When people ask me about the podcast, is I say, man, we just get together and we just talk, and we talk about how we can be the change. We can be the one to start the conversation and be the change in our own departments, right? And it like he said, is it literally change the patch, but it's the same department no matter where you're at in the country. And that's what I'm most proud of.
Right. Yeah, because that's what Chief Hayes said that too, right? He said, it's the fire service. Just change the names, it might look different. Some of us might be paid, some of us might not, but whatever. And but at the end of the day, we're all firemen or firefighters, whatever you want to say. But,
so let us know if that drop a comment in that one too. I know Spotify is wonky. I've started listening on Spotify. Is when you drop a comment, you can only usually do one per episode. So it's weird with that. So, maybe go to YouTube and drop a comment there too. But we'd love to have you engage on multiple platforms. But drop us a comment. Let us know, is that like an episode that made you think? Were you up to date? Let us know. We'd love to do that. And thanks to the people that message us. Man, we've had people engage with us on our socials, send us messages, and I'm just blown away at the love that we're having right now across social media and everywhere else on all of our platforms, because we're really getting some good engagements. So it's pretty good. Yeah, it's really crazy.
I want to give a shout out to someone in particular, and of course, it's because I have my phone on airplane mode. But we were reached out to by a female. I can't remember her name. Let me try to find it. But I think her brother or her husband is a fireman. And was it Alaska? I can't remember. Hold on. Jessica Jones. I want to give her a shout out because she's engaged with us a lot on TikTok recently. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, it's her husband. His 10-8 radio technologies. So she was on the 2448. And so when my episode launched on the 2448, she started becoming a listener as well. So from Sam, who was on our episodes as well.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. So she's been engaging like crazy. So I think it's her husband, right?
Yes.
He's on the 2448.
Yeah. Well, they both were. It's a husband and wife, and he owns the company. He does radio repairs, programmings, Chiefs buggies, stuff like that.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah. So shout out to them.
Yeah. Social media is going well.
It is.
Thank everybody. We're gonna have to try to do another giveaway. We don't have one right now, but I got some things we got to give away still from the virtual Fill the Boot. So we'll do that soon.
And I know we mentioned it quite a bit. Things in our lives are crazy, and we do have some things in the works. People have asked us about merchandise and other things, and we are working on it. I can promise you, it's just life. Right? Like that's just where we're at is there's a lot of things that keep us busy and going. And so we're working on those things as well. Speaking of that, don't forget, subscribe to the Burn Box, and maybe there'll be another, the Cool Fireman Podcast sticker in there, but shout out to those who got that this month as well. And make sure you go get your Unky seasoning as well.
Yeah.
We want to do a moment of silence real quick.
Yeah, let's do a moment of silence for all of our brothers and sisters that we may have lost in the last week or so since the last episode aired. Okay.
Amen.
Well said.
Play ball.
All right, folks.
Way to end on a light note there, Adam. I appreciate that.
Thanks for all your support for the Cool Fireman Podcast and its sponsors, UnkySeasoning.com and the Burn Box. Go get you some. And like Brian always says, hit us up on social media. We're always looking for topics, guests, everything else. I know a couple of people have reached out saying they want to be guests, and we're trying to work on it. But just trying to get us together on a certain day is usually last minute for recording. So our lives are a little bit crazy. So we're trying to figure out how we're going to make that work. But that's it. That's all I got. Who's got it?
Adams, he's got it. Do it.
Roll it, Gigi.
Roll it, Gigi.
Before you leave, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and give these firemen a huge thumbs up. Also, make sure you check out the coolfireman.com for more. Thanks!